Hello and welcome to the only live webcast that brings you the passion, the power and the pulse of the mighty One New Zealand Warriors. This is Ruin Hammer Live, the official webcast of Warrior Nation, who are the official Aussie-based Warriors supporters movement. I'm your host, Hammer, and joining me as usual is my co-host and fellow Warriors tragic, Warrior Roo. Rob, how have you been, mate? How's your week been?
Mate, the week could not have been more hectic. A lot going on outside of footy and outside of Ruin Hammer and Warrior Nation. In the process of moving companies at work, so a lot of logistical things are happening. My whole department is moving, so a lot of stuff going on at work at the moment. Very busy, and then throw kids' sports into that. Going here, there, and everywhere for practices and tennis competitions and soccer and all this stuff. So, mate, no rest for the wicked, as they say.
Nice.
Been super hectic. Lucky enough to be invited to a South African braai or a barbecue on the weekend, which definitely took the edge off the performance that we're going to be talking about soon. But we'll get to that in due course. Yeah. Anyway, how have you been, mate? How's yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Had a great weekend away to a little country town called Rydal. For those in New South Wales, it's probably a little bit west of Lithgow. So we spent Saturday morning up the Blue Mountains, Echo Point, checking out the Three Sisters and Katoomba Falls before we went to Rydal, which pretty much consisted of a pub with no food. No food. And they sent us to a little place called Tarana. So we went to the pub at Tarana, which was quite nice. It was myself and Danny and maybe 4 other people in the pub. We hijacked the TV and made them put on the Warriors women and the Warriors men's game, and left there with my tail between my legs. Back to the accommodations.
Other than that, it was good, though.
Other than that, it was great. It was great to get away. It's always good. We love our little weekends away. So yeah, mate, it was good. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the game in a minute. But as I did say in the opener, Ruin Hammer are the official webcast of Warrior Nation, and we're now going live on our Ruin Hammer Facebook page, our Ruin Hammer YouTube channel, and the Warrior Nation Facebook page, with the blessing of our Warrior Nation godfather, Richie Morgan. So salute to you, Rich. On tonight's show, we're going to look at the Warriors NRL and NRLW doubleheader against the Titans at Go Media Stadium. We'll give a quick review of both the NRL and NRLW rounds, preview the Warriors round 22 game this week against the Dolphins, and the women's round 5 Magic round clash against the Cowboys. And we'll talk a little bit of Warriors footy as well, mate. Hey, boys, almost didn't want to watch them. Yeah. Well, Malcolm, you've joined us at just the right time.
Always good to have you, one of our gold Patreons. So thanks, as always, for your support.
Absolutely. The game against the Titans was a 24-16 win by the last place Titans over the 4th placed Warriors. Kieran Foran returning home to New Zealand to play his last game in New Zealand, and he terrorised the Wars as we thought he would. Des Hasler coaching his 500th game. That certainly lifted the Titans. Definitely apart from Melbourne, the Titans are a real bogey team for the Warriors. Now, we've lost, 7 of the past 8 games we've played against them, dating back to 2021. Mate, yeah, it is. It's disappointing. I can remember last year they hadn't won a game when they travelled to New Zealand to play us and beat us in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then you and I were at that game last year where we got hammered 66-6.
Yes.
Up there at Seabus Super Stadium. They have been a real bogey team. I know you were at a 40-point loss back in 2021.
Father's Day 2021. What better gift than an absolute hiding?
For those who don't realise, that was the first game that Rob ever took his kids to as well.
and I tell this story all the time, but my daughter, she's been to 2. Funnily enough, ironically enough, I've taken my daughter to 2 games. That was the first one she went to, and she kept asking me, "Daddy, why are the Warriors still 0?" Because we lost 44-0. And then the other game, ironically, that I took both my kids to last year was the Golden Point loss to the Dolphins at Suncorp Stadium, where you probably remember Sean O'Sullivan, former Warrior, kicked like a 40-meter field goal to beat us. He never looked like he was capable of kicking that far when he played for us. But I said to my daughter, at least you got to see some tries, and at least you got to see a Golden Point. But that they certainly have the wood over us, and I don't think anyone saw that result coming last week, apart from the Titans themselves. But as you said, we should have known. Looking at, as you mentioned, Desi's 500th game, and an innocuous comment that I made on last week's show about Kieran Foran playing his last game in New Zealand, and I think most you kind of scoffed at it, and you were thinking that I was alluding to his wonderful Warriors career.
Yes.
And ironically, it's probably the best one of the best performances he's played at Mount Smart Stadium. But I was forgetting that he had a few really good games up until he signed with the Bulldogs in 2017.
Yeah,
and kind of just phoned it in for the rest of the year. But yeah, we should have seen it coming. The Desi thing, like they said that they weren't playing for the coach, but geez, they played for him last week. They turned up ready to play. And one thing that we said about the Titans and the area where they really carved us up last season and did it again this year was their speed. We couldn't handle their fast little men. Like Campbell just carved us up. And I mean, Cam Pereira and Keanu Kinney weren't playing this year, but last year they were the ones that killed us last year. But even Brimson and Phil Sami, we made Phil Sami look like a top caliber winger, and these guys just had their way. It was noticeable towards the end of the game when we were tiring. Their little men were just destroying us.
Yeah, well, I mean, it started off quite good for us. The opening 10 minutes, early points to Pompey off some really good shape. The lead-up set with easy meters up the middle for both Clark and Ford, and then a bit of a controlled kicking game from Tanner Boyd that got the Warriors a repeat set. And once again, off shape, Halasima continued his try-scoring feats, and that was about it as far as the Warriors' good gameplay went. The remaining 70 minutes were dominated by the Titans, and again, it was poor edge defense. It was poor. Excuse me. Actually, it was poor left edge defense inside the Titans half that created space for Campbell to put JJ Fafita away for their first try, a long range try, and then things went downhill from them. We lost Egan to an HIA, which is category
the most
1.
Important moment of that game, really.
Yep, it was. And then the Titans went back to back. They caught our right edge defense short again, and that's been a reoccurring problem for us for quite a few weeks. And I said it last week. I said last week's the win against the Knights 2 weeks ago, where we got out of jail, really masked a lot of problems that we're having. Because in that game, that edge defense on our right side, the Knights had 5 clear breaks that they should have scored from, and they didn't because of poor choices by themselves. Gave early ball a couple of times, and Tane Tuapiki was able to chase and tackle. But mate, this time around it was You touched on it before. One thing that we're really lacking is speed.
Big time.
Don't get me wrong. CNK and Roger, great at the back in yardage sets, starting off our sets. They work very hard. Roger's got great footwork. Chance is just a toiler. But when we need a change of speed, we haven't got it. We lost it when Metcalf went out, got injured. And apart from Leka Halasima, we really don't have much speed out there on the field, and it's showing.
And he's a forward.
And he's a forward, exactly right. I mean, even it was 12-10 at half time, and we were still in that game, But yeah, I mean, I'm at a loss for words because I predicted that we'd win by 20. I really thought that we'd turn up. We're a top four side. If a top four side can't beat the team that's coming dead last, that's on a 5-game losing streak, there's something seriously wrong. And
well, we're not a top four side. We're clearly not a top four side if that's the case. And if that happens again, it's happened. It almost happened 2 weeks in a row that we lost to sort of also ran teams. But the biggest worry for me and the biggest concern was we had plenty of time and field position to win that game. So Roger scored that try in about the 61st minute. So we still had about 18, 19 minutes left, and we had ample time to get back into that game and win it. But we just didn't look like scoring at all. The attack, as soon as Egan went off, it looked like we had no idea in attack. We went side to side like we always did, trying to drop forwards resorting to the barge over, not creating any space out in the wings, and it was beyond frustrating to watch that second half, and just poor options like throwing the ball over the sideline or giving away silly penalties like the ball plant and these kind of things. And another thing I told you is we still have these really basic fundamental schoolboy errors in our game. We still got them. It's happened multiple times this year. Who can forget when Adam Pompey was blatantly offside against the Raiders and gave away a penalty right on half time? There was a time where Roger was off, like Roger with all
offside from a kickoff.
Offside from a kickoff. It's like top teams do not make these basic kind of errors, yet it's still part of our game. And there are a lot of things that are still part of our game which make us the Warriors. I mean, 30 years of all this stuff. And if you've been on board for 30 years, you probably shouldn't be surprised that we did put in that kind of performance against the Titans. But you like to think that we've turned a corner, particularly under Webby, and we have in a lot of regards, but there's still a kind of lingering elements of the Warriors of old in there, unfortunately.
The DWZ sin bin didn't help either. I mean, it's very hard to go 10 minutes playing a man down, and the Titans put us under a lot of pressure, and we already had tied defence under pressure. They got awarded a controversial try, and I can't remember who it was that scored it. It originally set up as there you go, sent up as no try, but the bunker overturned that because they made the decision that the ball grazed a blade of grass for a millisecond. I mean, I always thought the bunker overturned if it was conclusive evidence. Yeah, and that to me wasn't conclusive. There was no way that ball was grounded and should never have been overturned. I'm not saying that was the decision that cost us a game, but it certainly didn't help.
It didn't. Remember the Chanel try against the Broncos. That went up as a try, and that was overturned despite lack of evidence. And so it's a little bit confusing as to what conclusive evidence is now, or this kind of thing.
Malcolm says from a camera 100 meters away. Exactly right. Fucking ridiculous, mate. I mean, the referee evened it up. He sent the Titans player to the sin bin in the final 2 minutes. For a hip drop tackle, but that wasn't enough for us to get the job done. There was no miracle finish for the Warriors this week. Beaten by a hungrier Titans team.
Just outplayed us in every department. They turned up ready to play. We didn't. They won. It's pretty much.
I probably. I mean, I don't want to ruffle anyone's feathers, but I said in our chat group the other day that I was a bit concerned with Tanner Boyd as our halfback. And I'm not blaming him for our losses by any stretch of the imagination. But look, let's be honest. He couldn't crack it at the Titans last season. They played Tom Weaver ahead of him, which is the whole reason that he left the Titans. He's been in reserve grade for us this season. He's been playing well. And some guys are great reserve grade players and ordinary first graders, and not everyone can be a first grade superstar. But one thing I've noticed with Tanner is in his 3 games that he's played, he's had no line breaks. He's only had 1 try assist. Compare that to what Luke Metcalf was doing in the halves. He's got a great kicking game. I'll give him that. But I don't know. It seems like we're lacking a bit of creativity in our halves at the moment. And it showed even more so on the weekend when Egan went off. I think Egan's creativity out of dummy half sometimes masks
compensates for the lack of creativity. Yeah,
that's a better word for it. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Tanner Boyd plays a great link role, but I don't know if he's if he's the guy that can take us to the finals and into a successful finals campaign at halfback.
Your
thoughts?
I tend to agree with you. One thing I do like about his game is he does go really deep into the line. That's one thing I noticed about him when he made his debut against the Tigers. He goes deep into the line, and that day he created a bit of space. But since then, we just haven't been creating space on the edges, which is obviously a bit frustrating to watch and frustrating for the attack. But yeah, he hasn't. He's barely run the ball, if he has at all. I can't remember him running the ball. I remember him getting past it in the final minutes against the Knights and getting tackled. But I can't remember him actually taking on the line. He's that small nuggety build as well, which you think would make him quite hard to handle close to the line if he's got a bit of footwork as well. But yeah, his kicking game is great. We noticed that in the Knights game where he was constantly putting on a dime for DWZ out our side. Dallin couldn't catch it. He's got a good long kicking game. But yeah, his only try assist this year has been that grubber for Pompey against the Knights.
Yeah.
And yeah, big concern. He is still, I guess he's still finding his feet in the, in this team. That was only his 3rd game. And, he was coming up against his old teammates who probably would have been into him all week. So but you should, you're a professional football player, you should be able to get past that kind of thing. But yeah, for whatever reason, it just isn't working at the moment. Yeah, it was badly exposed with no creativity there from Egan. Hopefully this coming week, and we're going to talk more about the team that's been selected a bit later on, but when he's got a creative player like Sam Healy there who can create plenty out of dummy half with his strong running game, maybe that might take a little bit more pressure off him. But again, he's got a new halves partner in Tamati Martin. So whatever it is, whatever combination it is, we just need to ask more questions of the defense.
Disappointing that we just can't seem to put it together at home either.
Extremely disappointing for all the home fans over there as well. And we've lost our last 3. Oh no, sorry, we won against the Tigers. We've lost 3 of our last 4. Yeah. We beat the Tigers there. So it's very disappointing. And yeah, let's face it, another very tough assignment this Friday.
Yeah, it was a deserved win by the Titans, though. I'm not making excuses.
Yeah, none of this is. We're not making excuses at all for the performance. Not blaming any referees' calls or anything like that, because this was purely on us. Yeah. Yeah,
Titans won that possession game. We had 46% possession in that game compared to the Titans 54. We completed at 70%. The Titans completed at 90. I can't remember the last time a Titans side completed their that many sets in a game, and they won. They won all the attack stats. They had 5 line breaks to our 4. They had 26 tackle breaks to our 21. 713 kick meters to our 582. It was all the attacking stats, all the stats, were in the Titans' favour. Marty Fake Newsman saying Warriors will at least finish top 10. I bet they finish 7th.
At this point in time, I would take 7th. I would lock that in. I think, mate, we might. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it, mate? Because we'll talk about it during the week. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about our easy run home where we played. Where we had like Tigers, Knights, Titans, in the Dolphins. Bulldogs, which were going to be the two hard games, and then we go Dragons, Titans, Eels, Manly. Thinking
and now
top four.
Now we turn around and look at it and go, geez, which one of these are we actually guaranteed to win?
Yeah.
After the weekend, you'd have to say none of them are locks.
Yeah. And I agree. We agree, Malcolm. We are fighting for a top 8 finish because the Eels are finding a bit of form now that Mitch Moses is back. The Dolphins are, back to full strength this week with the team that they've named. We're coming up against a red-hot Bulldogs side in a couple of weeks. Manly are fighting for their survival. Dragons are being competitive in every game.
It could all come down to that last round against Manly. And speaking of bogey teams, Manly is also one of our bogey teams. And it's been a long time since we've won at Brookvale as well. So, yeah.
It's always hard to give Dean Bell medal points in a losing game when we are disappointing, but we will have a look at our Dean Bell medal points for this week, brought to you by Vital Man, Natural Australian Supplements for Men. Vital Man, take the lead. Rob, who are your 3, 2, 1s? Would you like me to tell you?
No, I've got them here. Like, it's, as you said, it really is one of those games where it's like it's really hard to tell, and so often I have to go back and look at the stats because a lot of the really good performances kind of go unnoticed, particularly in defence.
Yeah.
I went 3 points to Chance. He was workmanlike as ever. You said it before. That's his go, and he was right back into the thick of it. I gave him my 3 points, my 2 points to Rog. Apart from a couple of basic errors that he made, he was outstanding again in the meters department. Always gets our sets off to a great start. As well, and always hungry for work. 1 point I gave to James Fisher Harris. I thought he was pretty good both sides of the ball. Made plenty tackles and. As always, is running the ball up, taking the ball up, leading by example. So those are my 3, 2, 1s. And what about yourself?
Mate, I went similar. I went Chance for 3. I just thought he was great at the back. 209 run meters, 70 post-contact meters, 2 tackle breaks, a line break. Always looked busy, always looked dangerous. 2 points I gave to Rog. As you said, his run meters were outstanding, 276 run meters, 90 post-contact. Got our set started off well, scored a try, always looked dangerous every time he carried the ball. And I gave 1 point to Jackson Ford. I thought he was good in the middle. 128 run meters, 54 post-contact, a huge amount of defence, 54 tackles for only 1 miss for Jackson Ford. And like you said, him and James Fisher Harris with 46 tackles as well. In that game. So that were my 3, 2, 1s, which means that CNK has closed the gap to Aaron Clark only slightly. Clark's still way out in front on 51 points for the season. CNK on 29, Roger on 27, and the rest are kind of out of it, I would say.
Well, it's getting to the pointy end, isn't it? Yep.
It is. We'll quickly just touch on the NRLW round 4. It was the Titans 20 over the Warriors 10. I got to watch this, as I said, in the pub at Tarano. It was there was a few distractions. I didn't get to watch it as much or get invested in as much as I wanted to. It was a tough loss at home. Big game for Warrior number 7, Georgia Hale, returning home to play her first game on home soil since leaving the Warriors, playing in front of family and friends. Her dad, of course, Laurie, is on the staff at the Warriors. So big game for Georgia. But 20-10 win by the Titans. Titans were pretty dominant. They led 14-0 before the Warriors were able to score through Peyton Tucky Moana out there on the wing again. Another try. She's now scored 5 in her 4 games in her debut season. As I said, the Titans were always in control. But for our girls, it's going to be a season of growth, and that's going to continue all season. It's going to take a little bit of time to get some to get these combinations going, and they're competitive each and every week, and they're putting in each and every game, and that's all you can really ask for. As I said, I think our 17, that took the field in round one, we had 10 NRLW debutants and, of course, 16 club debutants. So, these girls hadn't played together. I do feel like our biggest strike weapon is Michaela Brake. Looks dangerous every time she gets the ball, is very good at tackle breaking, but I don't think she's getting enough ball. Maybe she's playing on the wrong side because Taki Moana's getting plenty of ball out on her wing. So, I think her tackle busting is a strike weapon, and I don't think we're utilising to her strengths. It's going to be interesting to see these girls magic round this week against the Cowboys, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But for this game, I gave our 3-2-1 points to Taisha Ikanaseo in the centres. I thought she was quite strong for us. Arpi Nichols got the 2 points, and Kaya Atai in the back row got 1 point, which means that Arpi Nichols is out in front on 8 points for the season, with Taisha Ikanaseo on 7 and a whole heap of others on 3s and 2s. Warriors news, mate. Let's talk about injuries. Before we talk about pathways. Actually, I'll quickly touch on pathways and then we'll get into injuries. Pathways. Flegg had a bye. It was a bye round in the Jersey Flegg, so no game. Our New South Wales Cup played the Rabbitohs. They had an outstanding 68-6 point victory at home. The couple of stars in this game. One notable mention goes to Jet Cleary with 2 tries, 2 try assists, 166 run meters, 8 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks, 3 line break assists, and 16 tackles. Outstanding from the young gun. Interestingly, got upgraded to the top 30 squad this week. Yes. Is there writing on the wall? Do you think he gets a debut before the end of the season in first grade?
Oh, look, if there's an injury to the halves, absolutely he does. If there's an injury to the current halves that we got, they're saying Chanel's out for 1 week.
Yep.
But you can tell that they're getting a little bit nervous about the halves depth because, he was promoted to the top 30, and that's 2 years ahead of schedule, apparently, with his trajectory. So, look, I can definitely see him making the debut before the end of the season. And,
did you watch the highlights of that game?
I saw a little bit of it. Some of those individual tries, a lot like his brother.
I was going to say, didn't he look like Nathan? Like, I don't like comparing him to Nathan, but I was watching him and I replayed it and went back and I said to Danny, I said, he just looks like his brother. That run just looks like Nathan, especially that first try.
If he can just equal what Nathan's done, then that'll be great. That's all we ask for. That's all we ask for. That's all right. No pressure, Jet.
No pressure. I can see that he might get his debut handed to him towards the end of the season, especially if we get to a point where we are locked into the 8. Whether it be top 4, we're locked into the top 4, or we're in like a 5th or 6th spot, we're going to get a home semi-final. We can't lose that, and maybe Webby might want to rest a couple of players leading into the finals. Jet may get his debut handed to him then. So, going to be interesting to see. Which brings me to injuries. Of course, we all know we've got Luke Metcalf, who incidentally was on NRL 360 last night. Fox, you know what I reckon is? I reckon after last week where they didn't talk about the Warriors at all with that amazing finish against the Knights, they actually said on the Monday show, amazing finish this week in the NRL, and then they showed Manly scoring against Melbourne.
I know. Yeah, it's bizarre.
And then Braith actually said something on Wednesday night saying, we wanted to talk about the Warriors, but we haven't had time. But they've spent all week, 3 nights in a row, talking about Cole Flanagan and then Lachlan Galvin. I think they were told to hand the Warriors a bone because they haven't spoken about in the 2 nights that I watched it about us getting done by the Titans. They didn't mention that at all, about the last place Titans beating the 4th place Warriors. But what they did do is they brought Luke Metcalf on and jibbing onto him, and Dean Ritchie had nothing to say. He had to mention the candle that was next to him.
He never has anything to say, Dean Ritchie. He can't stand us. He bags us. He bags us all the time. He loves saying. But I'm surprised that Buzz didn't jump on it and go, "Oh, the Warriors should be kicked out of the comp, and we need a second Cronulla team."
Yeah, yes.
That's all he does. Like that. Yeah. Let's face it. NRL 360 is predominantly for an Australian audience, and they really couldn't care less about talking about us unless we're exceptionally good or has
very
been
bad
the last 10 years, exceptionally bad. That's the only time we ever get mentioned. If we're middle of the road, we don't exist to them. So.
Yeah, no, I reckon they'll told to throw us a bone, and that's what we've done this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to injuries, of course, we know we've got Metcalf out. Had his surgery this week to his PCL. We've got Mitchy Barnett is also out. And then this week we've got Ali Lautua suffered another injury in reserve grade. Rocco Berry's out for a period of time. Now Chanel Harris-Tavita, Wade Egan out with the HIA. James Fisher-Harris out for a couple of weeks with a calf. Getting desperate, mate, isn't it?
It certainly is. This injury crisis could not get much worse. To be honest, it's quite crippling, especially when we're in the position that we are and we're fighting. Well, first and foremost, fighting to stay in the top 4, but then real danger of staying in the top 8. I don't know what to say, but I mean, all teams go through it, I suppose, and could be worth. Look at Souths, look at the position that they're in. But
true.
Luckily, we've got the system in place that Webby's set up, the next man up, so everyone knows that they need to be ready. Everyone in that, and let unlike Souths, our New South Wales Cup team is flying.
Yes,
and like we've got a number of players that we know are in form that can step up into first grade, and as they have done all this season. So maybe go easy on the old injuries for us for the next few weeks.
Well, when we have a look at the team that Webby's named for this week, we'll see what kind of effect that injury toll has had. We'll just quickly recap round 21. I'll get your thoughts on some of these games, mate. Thursday night kicked off with a Storm 34 over the Roosters 30. Thoughts on that one, mate? I think Jerome Hughes injured himself, out for the season.
Is he out for the season, or did they say he was going to come back?
6 weeks. 6 weeks, I think, something like that.
6 weeks. So look, the Roosters pushed them all away, and I thought once Hughes went down that the Roosters were a big chance of winning, but Storm proved that they're also a very good system-based team, and they did enough to win that game. But interesting to see how that carries out
over the next couple of weeks.
And interestingly enough, with the whole Jerome Hughes re-signing, it's triggered that clause in Pezzet's contract.
Yep.
So he's instantly allowed to become a free agent. So watch this space, I suppose, for the Storm fan. But Storm carrying on.
Friday night, Dragons 32, Cowboys 38, or Cowboys 38, sorry, Dragons 32. A much-needed win.
Typical of two teams in this position, I suppose.
Yep.
I don't know who that says more about. Probably the Cowboys, that they can still score 38 points.
Yes.
And I thought that was always going to be the case there against the Dragons.
The upset of the round, Eels 22 over the Broncos. Or no, not the upset of the round. Sorry, one of the upsets of the round.
One of the many upsets of the round.
Eels 22 over the Broncos 20. Eels doing us a huge favour.
Just couldn't cash in on it.
No, we could have extended that 4-point buffer to the Broncos to 6, but we didn't cash in on that one. Great win by the Eels, though. Mitch Moses, they're a different type. They're a different side with Mitch Moses playing, aren't they?
Absolutely, and almost another miracle finish for the second time in 2 weeks. But Reece Walsh Unfortunately, I suppose for the Broncos, offside. You see, Madge went from Woogie Maguire went from glory to tears.
He did, didn't he? Didn't he? What? Saturday, Titans 24 over the Warriors 16. Panthers doing a job on the Tigers 36-2. And then the Sharks, surprising this one, Sharks 14 over the Rabbits 12. I really thought the Sharks would give it to the Rabbits, but even the injury ravaged Rabbits, in there kept fighting. They're in there with the fight.
Yeah, look, it was a real arm wrestle, but you always had the sense that the Sharks were going to win that one. Look, another team that's battling for the bottom part of the top 8, aren't they? So
interesting. Belinda Sharp has been rested this week after her performance. I suppose they couldn't have her referee the Warriors game against the Dolphins because the Dolphins are kind of an all right side, so she couldn't be punished.
Like we're not playing the Titans 2 weeks in a row. So but that's coming up, so that might be her punishment to referee us against the Titans on the Gold Coast in a few weeks. So who knows?
Sunday, Raiders 44 over the Knights 18, and the Knights were in that game right up until half time.
Yeah, they were in that, but mate, the Raiders are way too good. They're going to run away with this minor premiership.
Yeah. And then the Bulldogs 42 over the Sea Eagles 4.
Statement win. That was a massive statement win. On the day that they were celebrating the 30th anniversary of the 95 premiership, the last ever Winfield Cup that our good mate Warrior 121 played in, and I saw he was on site there.
Yep.
In his Bulldogs kit.
So what they did, there's a video on Facebook you can watch of the jersey presentation. So they had each of the 95 team present their counterpart with their jersey, and the counterpart presented them with a jersey with their player number on it, which is nice. What they were all wearing. It was a really nice touch. There must have been a couple of guys not there because Chris Anderson actually presented a couple of jerseys, and one of them was to Josh Curran. And he funnily says to Josh Curran, as Kevin Ryan would have said back in 1970, get a fucking haircut, as he hands him his jersey.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, look, well, Pricey scored a try in that grand final.
He did.
Manly lived up to the occasion and scored 4 points like they did on the day. But the Bulldogs scored a bit more than 17. They piled on the tries in that second half. They look strong, and of course they're back in form. A week before we have to play them. Of course they are.
Of course.
But it was. I always love to see these kind of moments sort of honoured, and love to see players of the past there. And some of those Bulldogs guys, I barely recognise them. When you saw them there from the 95 crew, but then when you think 30 years have passed since then. Yeah,
exactly. So the NRL ladder after round 21, the Raiders remain on top on 36 points, 2 points clear of the Bulldogs in second place are on 34, the Storm third on 32, and the Warriors still hanging on in fourth spot on 30. The Panthers win moves them into fifth on 27, with the Broncos dropping to sixth, and the Dolphins in seventh, and the Sharks in eighth. All three teams on 26 points. That rounds out the top 8. Then the Sea Eagles sit in ninth on 24 points, with the Roosters 2 points behind them on 22 points, and they're looking now that looking likely that they will miss the finals with a tough run home. And then the remaining teams definitely can't make the finals. The Cowboys on 19, the Dragons, Tigers and Eels on 18. The Knights, Titans and Rabbits on 16. The Bunnies now last on for and against with a hand on the wooden spoon. And, Wayne didn't want to talk about that, did he?
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that up. Wasn't that his comment or something? Yes. They just kept replaying that on Triple M, so I knew you were going to ask me about
that. NRLW round 4 recap. Titans 14 over the Warriors 4. The Roosters 42 over the Bulldogs 22. The Cowboys 26 over the Raiders 0. I don't know what is going on with that Raiders side.
Yeah.
That something is going on at the Raiders. I don't know what
Bermuda
it is.
Triangle down there with their team, isn't it? Yeah.
Then on Sunday, it was the Knights 30 over the Eels 6, the Broncos 30 over the Dragons 6. Statement win there for the Bronx. And the Sharks 20 over the Tigers 16, a close one there. So that NRLW ladder after round 4, the Roosters remain undefeated at the top of the table on 8 points. The Broncos, Cowboys, and Knights are all on 6 points. The Eels, Sharks, Bulldogs, Dragons, and Titans are on 4 points. The Warriors on 2. And then the Tigers and Raiders yet to taste victory in season 2025. Little bit of NRL news, mate. Warrior 186, Chad Townsend, has announced his retirement. Thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, it's not unexpected. It's probably hasn't gone the way. It's probably not the way that Chad wants to go out, but yeah, he's had a pretty good career. He won a premiership with the Sharks in 2016.
Yep.
Of course, 1 year after leaving us. We had the "Why did we let him go?" strong, but yeah, no, he played 2 and a bit seasons with us.
Yep.
So he signed on for us and played 2014 and 2015 for the Warriors, and then that brief stint, sort of midway through 2021.
Yep.
Came back and played for the club again on his way to the Cowboys. Look, he had some great moments in a Warriors jersey. There was some great games from 2014 and 15 that he starred in. Played about 40, I think it was 47 or 48 games for the club. So we wish him all the best in his retirement. But he's set himself up with a pretty good career in the media and podcasting and his beer and all the other things that are going on. And he's a great fella. We had a chance to say g'day to him when he was playing for the Cowboys at Redcliffe when we played them there. So yeah, he's pulled on the jersey for us, and yeah, we wish him all the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other NRL news to talk about?
We've got the Wellington Anzac game.
That's right.
Confirmed this week. So we will be, obviously taking the Anzac Day game.
By all reports, it'll be against Canberra, so it'll be
capital clash,
capital of Australia, playing in the capital of New Zealand on Anzac Day. So that's quite fitting, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. It's been, when did we last have it? So round 1, 2023, I think was the last time that we played in Wellington. So yeah, good to take a game back there. The only other thing was that indoor stadium at Christchurch was supposed to be ready next year, but I'm just wondering if maybe there was a bit of a hold up on that 1NZ stadium.
I don't mind. Like I've always thought that once they started taking the Anzac game back to New Zealand, which is their right. I mean, we played so many in Australia, in Melbourne. I thought it was a bit rough that the home fans in Auckland don't get to experience that Anzac game. But I'm not against. I'm actually not against the Anzac game happening in Wellington every year.
Yeah. Look, it'll be good for them to get some more footy there, and it's like Anzac Day is always a momentous occasion. It means a lot to Aussies and Kiwis alike, and yeah, as you said, if it's coming back over to New Zealand, it seems right that it is played in the capital. So hopefully, all the Wellington fans, including Richie Sterling, get out there and support the event and make it a big one and one to remember. And
yeah, I think so too. Let's move on to round 22, mate. We play the Dolphins again at Go Media Stadium this weekend. Have you got the team list there?
I have.
Would you like to go through it?
Let's go through this.
And we can dissect this team list naming.
There's a medium amount of talking points in this team list, so we'll go through it. I'm sure everyone's seen it already, but the team that Webby has named to take on the Dolphins on Friday night at Go Media Stadium. Chance Nuka-Klukster at fullback. On the wings, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak retaining his spot and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the other wing. A slight change in the centres. Pompey has switched sides over to Dallin's edge. Kurt Capewell again named in the centres. In the halves, Tamari Martin at 5'8", Tanner Boyd at 7. As we touched on, injury to James Fisher-Harris. So Demetric Vaimunga has been named to start at prop, and Sam Healy coming in for Wade Egan for his HIA protocols, as we all expected. Jacko Ford, the other prop. Leka Halasima, Murata Niokore, and Aaron Clark in the back row. On the bench, interesting, Tane Tuapiki, Jacob Laban, Freddie Lussick, and Tanner Stowers-Smith. And on the extended bench, Eddie Iramia Tuiaba, Bunty Arfoa, Ed Kosi, Kalani Going, and Makaya Tafua, who I believe is a hooker that's been playing well in New South Wales Cup. So I just want to come out straight away and say, I get that there's a lot of uproar and upheaval and people burning down buildings and things about Dallin being named on the wing, and I get that, and it's with good reason. His performances probably haven't been up to the standard that we know that he can produce. However, the only other option to selecting Dallin is to either bring Ed Kosi in or a debutant.
Sio Carley.
We're in a team that's already heavily depleted with injuries and lacking experience. I think we need Dallin there. Like, we know what he's capable of producing, and this is the NRL, and people can turn things around quickly. And like, it's much publicised about his jamming in on defence, but it's actually an issue with that whole right side of the defence as well. So it's not solely to blame. So who knows whether switching Pompey over there makes a big difference. But like, looking at it, like, it's easy to say, oh, Dallin should be dropped. But when you look at the alternatives to him being dropped, I think, he has to be there. And there's plenty of other talking points, and I'll ask your thoughts on this one shortly. But do you think that this is going to be the 17 that is ready to play on Friday night? Because I can see a multitude of changes being made, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
I like what Malcolm Earnshaw says. He says this feels like the patched together team that beat the Panthers in Magic Round last year.
Absolutely.
And then you and I were at the game where we played the Dolphins in New Zealand a week later. And
it was even more of a patchwork team that day.
Yeah, because
players were dropping out on game day.
Yep, game day. His partner went into labour. That's when Graham Taufa made his debut.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, and we were at that game.
Dallin played fullback that day and had a really good game.
He did. In answer to your question, no, I don't think it's the 17 that will play. I can't see, unless Stephen Kearney has come back as coach, I can't see why we've got Tane and Freddie Lussick both on the bench. I get that Sam Healy is inexperienced and he's probably not an 80-minute player. I get that. But Aaron Clark's played hooker before many times, and I know he's a little bit bigger bodied now, but I wouldn't be against Tane jumping in at dummy half, or Tane comes on the field and Tamari Martin jumps into dummy half. Freddie Lussick hasn't played for a couple of weeks. He's coming back from injury, so I can't see him. I really can't see him playing.
I can see him playing, but it depends on a few other factors.
Interesting. I thought about what I would have done if I was Webby. I suppose it's much of a muchness whether you have Capel in the centres and Halasima on the edge or swap them around. I just think Halasima gives us a little bit more speed. But if the ball's not going to get out that far, then you're probably better off having Halasima on the edge and trying to create something there. One question I do have to ask you is, one of my predictions for 2025 was that Dimetric Vaimunga finally works himself into being named in the starting team. Does that mean I get this one right, or?
At the moment, you do. It's got an asterisk though. It's to be confirmed. It's a TBC next to it. I can see there's a lot of moving parts with this team, and I think it's going to continue to move until about when's the cutoff? Like an hour before
It'll be
kickoff?
5 o'clock Friday. Yeah.
5 o'clock Friday our time, so 7 p.m. NZ time. Look, I honestly think there's going to be a big shuffle in this side. I think this is my personal opinion, I think Tane will go back to fullback. Chance will come in at centre because we know he can do a job there. He's played heaps of games for the Kiwis at centre. He played really well in the last round against the Sharks.
Yep.
Last year when he played there. I can see Capewell moving back to the pack. I can see perhaps Murata going to starting prop, and then Vaimunga going back to the bench, and coming in for so obviously Tane is starting.
Yep.
He'll come back onto the bench. So that's how I can see Freddie Lussick staying on the bench as insurance for Sam Healey, who is this is only his third first grade game. So
Yep.
I can understand that. There's been a fair bit made about Freddie Lussick being a middle in New South Wales Cup. Yeah, great, but this is first grade footy, and I just cannot get the image out of my head of him getting absolutely poleaxed by Kickow against the Bulldogs last year when he was forced to play middle in that game, where we had another game where we were ravaged by injuries. We lost pretty much our whole back line. So that's how I can sort of kind of make sense of this. Or otherwise, Eddie Iremia Tuiaba comes in for a debut. He slots in there somewhere. He's predominantly a back row, but I think he's another back row that can play centre.
Yeah.
But I don't know that you bring him in for a debut in the centres in a game like this where you're up against...
No, that's where I could see Halasima going to the centres.
Yeah.
If that was to happen. But I think you're right. I think there is a lot of moving parts, and he's covering all bases with his selections. Coming up against the Dolphins side, fresh off the bye, Nikorima's back, Felice Kafusi's back.
Of course.
They've got the best centre in the game as far as I'm concerned in Herbie Farnworth. And Herbie plays on the same side of the field that Dallin's going to be defending. And I think that might be the reason that they've moved Pompey to that centre, is to mark up on Herbie.
To stiffen up the defence over that side, yeah.
But the Dolphins have a very creative halfback as well in Isaiah Katoa. He plays deep into the line. He's very deceptive with his ball play. Kurt Donahue playing in the back row. Yeah,
King as well.
Marshall King. And then when Marshall King goes off, they have a guy like Kurt Donahue. They have, as Danny calls him, the criminal in Ray Stone. They're a talented side, the Dolphins, and they fucking scare me.
But you've seen what they've done to some other teams.
But we've spoken about 3 times last year where the Warriors were ravaged by injuries, and we beat the Panthers and we beat the Dolphins and we went golden point with the Bulldogs. So maybe this is what we need to kind of reignite our season. Just backs against the wall.
Teams are always using factors to galvanise themselves against us. So why don't we actually turn the tables and actually get galvanised by something like this ourselves and put in a performance? Because we need something.
Is it going to galvanise us, mate? Is it going to galvanise us?
Is it? Look, I hate to say this, but I look at that Dolphins back line and I look at what they've done. It's fresh in my mind how they absolutely carved up the Cowboys in that first half and just tore them to shreds. And, they break through the line and, he's going to be there on the inside to take the pass, the hammer.
Yeah.
So it's just so concerning that we've been so poor on that right edge, and that they're going to go there every time. And it's just gonna be a target. So look, stranger things have happened, mate. As we mentioned, I keep clinging on to the Panthers game last year, the Dolphins game last year. And there's been times throughout our history where the times where we least look like winning is when we put on a performance to remember. So are you asking me for a score now?
Yes.
Is this it?
Yes.
Look, it's a head and heart scenario for me. Absolutely. Tell you what, all week, you and I have been chatting. All week, I mean, like since the team was named yesterday.
Yeah,
it feels like a week. It feels like a week. I've been saying that this is a tough assignment. You know what? I'm going to go a very, 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 very nervous 2-point win to the Warriors. All week I've been saying I just can't tip us, but I'm trying to stay positive, and it's a game that we have to win. And yeah, in the back of my mind, as I said, we've got those famous wins from last year where we had no right to win, but we did. One of those was against the Dolphins, and that night they had most of these guys playing in that back line. So it's a head and heart thing, and it still is. But I'm gonna stick with the heart, and I'm gonna tip us in a very, very nervous. It's the only way I can see us getting up is if we turn this into a grind and we defend like our lives depend on it. If it turns into a shootout, we won't be able to keep up with them. No way. But if we can defend strongly and keep the scores close, Warriors by 2. You?
Like you, mate. I think we're not going to be able to stop their speed. They've got the hammer. They've got Jake Averillo. Asako loves to score a try against the Warriors.
Loves it.
Herbie Farmworth. Cody Nikorima's in a rare patch of form this season. If they get pure line breaks, they're going to turn those into scoring opportunities.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the thing that we have to be vigilant with is our defense. We have to be resilient. We have to get back to that defensive structure that has worked for us so early in the season. Look, you said it. It's a heart and head type thing. My heart says Warriors 2 to 4 point victory. My head says Dolphins 20-point victory.
Yeah. That's fair. It's fair.
And it's I the last couple of weeks just haven't given me the confidence. I mean, we played 2 teams that are out of finals contention. One team was coming dead last, and the other team had lost all its there was no Fletcher Hunt, there was Fletcher Sharp, there was no Kalen Ponga.
Yeah.
They'd moved Dane Gagai to fullback, playing out of position. And they ripped through our right edge quite a few times.
Tries that were the difference.
Yeah. Yes, and they really should have won that convincingly. And then we played the Titans last week that put some tries on us. So as much as I love our team, it's very hard to be confident about the performance. But I just hope it's one of those.
Yeah, none of us are going to be confident in this. Yeah.
Yeah. I just hope it's one of those backs against the wall type of performances. I love Malcolm's comment. Who'd have thought we'd get to a position where Pompey is our number one centre?
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
For all the crap that he cops, he's been the constant. He's barely missed a game since 2023, and mate, it might come down to his defensive steal on Friday night.
Yeah. The Tamari Martin Tanner Boyd pairing in the halves concerns me.
It's very much on the dour side, isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, we'll all know by 7:30 Friday night. We'll have a result.
That's why I'm saying Tane has to be in there, because he got speed and he's got creativity. He's got X factor. He is all the things that we lack in this lineup. And we love Chance, and he does a great job at the back. But there's a number of times, and I noticed it particularly last week, where he would sort of get through the first line. But then if we had Tane there, and I know we call him the half break king, but you think that he gets through and creates something. And we need with that halves pairing of Martin and Boyd, who as we just said, are a bit on the dour side. Boyd is not really creating anything. This is Martin's first start in the halves since last year. We need that third option in there, and that's why, like, come on, Webby, we need Tane in there, 100%.
I'll tell you who I think is in for a big game though is Sam Healy.
Yep.
I think he's in for a big game. Yeah.
Again, like we mentioned it before, but he's a creative force out of dummy half. We only have a very small sample size in first grade because he's only played the 2 games, but we've seen him play enough cup to know that he can be dynamic out of dummy half position, and he's a big guy for number 9. Very big.
Yes.
And he'd be hell hard to handle close to the line. So we might need a few of those old barge overs from dummy half. Wouldn't they go down a treat?
Sam Healy for a try double.
Yep, there we go. Hammer's good oil is back.
Sam Healy for a try double, Warriors to win by 4. There you go. I'm back. I'm confident.
Love it. Yeah.
Mate, if you got the Warriors NRLW team to take on the Cowboys, it's Magic Round for the NRLW this
Interesting, week. They're also taking on the Cowboys at Magic Round, so maybe that's a bit of an omen, like we did earlier this year.
Yes.
So our game is 11:50 a.m. on Sunday, 3rd of August. So Arpy Nichols at fullback, Michaela Brake, and the try-scoring machine, Peyton Takimoana on the wings. Ikanasino and Paki in the centres. The halves, Maliipo and Emily Curtin. The front row, Fotu Moala, Lydia Taruva Kedley at hooker, Lavinia Kitai, the other prop, Maori Pukitapu, Atai and Albert Jones in the back row. On the bench is Capri Paiku, Harata Butler, Ashley Matapo, and Felili Kia, and extended bench Takimu Cook, Watari, Lauatiti, Carmont, and Michaela Ely. Apologies if I got some of those names wrong, but
it's a couple of changes made to the makeup of the side. A couple of girls unavailable this weekend. Emily Curtin comes back after missing last week through injury. Quedley moves into hooker, which forces Paiku to the bench. Look, they're building. Cowboys coming off a big win last week. One thing I like about our women's side is our back 3 are very, very strong and very, very good. Actually, our back 5, because Ikanaseo in the centres and Emanita Paki in the other centre there. It's a quality back 5 that we've got. Maliupu, the 5'8", is really starting to find a feet. Going to be a tough game, though, because the Cowboys have hit a bit of form.
Yes.
Sister-in-laws playing each other this week, mate, with Quedley, who is Paulie Roach's partner, playing hooker, and Paulie Roach's sister, Abigail, playing in the centres for the Cowboys. So that'll be an interesting matchup. I'm going to pick our Warriors girls to bounce back with a 6-point victory over the Cowboys in this one.
I'll go like I have with the men's team. I'm going to go a very nervous 2-point win. I think there might be a few points scored. I'm gonna say, pardon the pun, but a breakout game for Michaela Brake. I reckon she'll get a couple of tries. Yeah.
I'm hoping so too. And one of the revelations for the Warriors team, the women's side, is the goal kicking of Maliapu. Smacking them over. Yeah. Smacking them over from the sideline.
We saw it firsthand at Newcastle, and the only one she missed hit the dot on the
upright.
Yeah, amazing. Some great form there.
Let's have a look at the NRL Round 22 preview tomorrow night. The Eels versus Storm at CommBank Stadium.
I know that the Eels have improved a lot, and this might be closer than a lot of people think, but I think the Storm will still be too good for them.
I'm going to pick the Eels.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Eels, mate.
Okay. You think the Hughes factor is
I think the Hughes factor is going to be telling. Still a little bit of a cloud over Pappenhausen whether he plays or not. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think the Storm are that invincible this season.
No.
They've got some vulnerability to them, and the Eels are showing a little bit. I mean, you got to give it to Jason Riles. He's
done a job.
He's done a job. He hasn't been afraid to make some tough decisions. Dylan Brown's not in that lineup anymore. He made his choice.
I applaud that. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Gutsy for your first season. It is an interesting talking point. Just quickly, I know we're getting close on time, but I was listening to Triple M last night, and they were making the comparison. Who would you be putting your money on? Who would you be investing in at this point in time? Is it Para or the West Tigers? And yeah, like I know that the Tigers have improved, but you've got to say that I feel it's more impressive what Jason Riles has been able to do with that team, considering they started off the year terribly. They struggled big time with a sort of like a limited roster, but I think he's unearthed some young talent in there, and I think the future's looking bright for them.
Yeah, me too. I agree. So I'm ticking the Storm tomorrow night. Friday, Warriors versus Dolphins.
You mean?
What's that?
You said you're picking the Eels.
Sorry, I'm picking the Eels.
Eels,
yes. Friday, Warriors versus Dolphins. We've both had our say on that one. Broncos versus Rabbits is the second game of that. Mate, you got to go to the Broncos.
Have to. I know they lost to Parramatta last week, but I think they'll come out and absolutely smash the Rabbitohs, to be honest.
Yeah, so do I. Rabbitohs, as you said, a lot of injuries, and now they've lost Jack White into suspension for the next 4 weeks. So
is Mick Ennis in commentary? We probably don't know that yet, but if Peter Goff is the referee, then
if Peter Goff is the referee and Mick Ennis is commentating, please, everyone, tune into Fox. It's going to be an epic commentary of little tidbits that referee Peter Goff will be doing, and the superstar Reece Walsh will be playing, and Mick Ennis will be shooting his load all over the.
Regardless, he won't be wearing any pants when he's calling that game. Yeah,
absolutely. Saturday, Titans versus the Panthers. Mate, I'm picking the Panthers in that.
There's no way that the Titans can back that up. The Panthers won't let them get away with anything. I think they'll be way too good for the Titans. Yeah.
Dragons versus Raiders.
Raiders.
If you are out and about and down Wollongong on Saturday, the curtain raiser to the Dragons Raiders game is the Dragons versus Warriors reserve grade side.
Oh, top of the table.
New South Wales Cup. Top of the table clash. First versus second. Warriors 5 points clear at the top of the table. So I think they kick off at around 3:15 down there in Wollongong. So if you are down that way, I suppose the only downside is that you'll have to pay full price for an NRL ticket to go watch the reserve grade.
You'll see a lot of tries in the first grade. So there you go.
Yeah. And the last game on Saturday to round out Super Saturday is the Sea Eagles at home again against the Roosters. This will be a tough one. Both teams, playing for survival. The Sea Eagles last week were diabolical. The Roosters are still
the DCE Cup.
Giving it to get the DCE Cup. I love it. Maybe DCE gets the Sea Eagles home and lets the Roosters hierarchy see what they're actually investing in next season.
Honestly, a game that normally I could not care less about, but this is going to go a long way, I think, to sort of letting us know or giving us a clearer picture, I think, at the bottom part of the eight. So I think if the Roosters lose to Manly, then they're pretty much gone. I don't know if you already put the red line through them, but they'll be absolutely desperate. And Sea Eagles, I really don't know what to make of them this year. They've been hot and cold all year. They backed up a really strong performance in Melbourne with a pretty average display last week.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. They'll have to bounce back like Matt Lodge's hairline.
Yes. Advanced hair. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to pick Oh,
Sorry, I should have given my tip. Manly. I think Manly at home.
I think
Again.
Manly at home in the DCE Cup to round out Super Saturday. The kickoff Sunday, we've got the Lockie Galvin Cup with the Tigers versus the Bulldogs. Unfortunately, this is at Combank. I think if this was at Leichhardt, it'd be a harder game for the Bulldogs. But
do you reckon there'd be a few boos?
There would be, but I still think the Bulldogs will probably have more crowd support at Combank than the Tigers will.
They would.
Even though it's
they would.
Tigers home game. I'm going to pick the Bulldogs here. Lockie Galvin to get the Bulldogs home.
I agree. I think the Galvin will put on an absolute clinic, and our mates Brad and the Great One will be sitting there seething. Do you reckon? But the other question is, do you reckon they'll wheel out a barbecue at halftime to present Lockie Galvin, or does he barbecue alone? I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know. They did a photo on Fox Sports the other night of Galvin standing next to Matt Burton, and it looked like Dumb and Dumber.
Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yes. Bulldogs to win that one. And round 22 rounds out with the Sharks versus the Cowboys. Surprisingly, the Sharks at home again.
So Malcolm has just said, so Malcolm's a Manly local, actually. He lives in the area. So he is saying that Manly don't get another home game until they play us in the final round. That'd have to be about right, the amount of home games they've had. Yeah.
Yep. Sharks Cowboys, mate. I'm going to pick the Sharks.
This is another Sharks home game, but they have to be the Sharks. To keep their top 8 chances alive. So, but who knows with the Sharks? Yeah.
And the Knights have the bye. NRLW round 5, Magic round, as we said. Saturday, 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, all at McDonald Jones Stadium. A wonderful venue for rugby league.
It certainly is. I can attest to that. I love it.
Yeah. Saturday, Titans versus Bulldogs. I'm going to go the Bulldogs, mate.
Ooh, Titans.
Tigers versus Roosters. Roosters undefeated. I think they'll keep that undefeated streak alive.
Yep, by plenty.
Yep. Broncos versus Sharks. Going to go the Bronx.
Yeah, Broncos. Broncos will be too good.
And then Sunday, Cowboys versus Warriors. We both picked the Warriors.
Nervous 2-point win for the
Knights versus Raiders. Raiders are going to continue their season of woe.
It's hard to pick them at the moment. I think the Knights, they looked good when we watched them a couple of weeks ago.
They did. And the Eels versus the Dragons. Big out for the Dragons. Tegan Berry's out for the Dragons. I'm going to pick the Eels in an upset.
Yep, I agree. I think Eels might do the Mahi.
Yes. Warrior Nation updates. Just for anyone who is Sydney-based or New South Wales-based and coming along to the Bulldogs, Warriors versus Bulldogs at the Core Stadium next Saturday week. There will be no pre-game pub meetup for this one. The meetup will be in the stadium, 3:20 p.m. kickoff for New South Wales Cup, rolling into 5:15 kickoff for the NRLW. We want a huge presence, wanted to fill the general admission away supporters bay. Doggies fans will try to claim that area, so we need everyone to get there early. Gates open, I think, at 3 o'clock. So, Richie's pushing for everyone to get there for the pre-game meetup in the stadium. And then what we might do is we might get Richie on next week to chat about that. And he can also tell us about the final 2 pre-game fan meetups that we got. One at Seabus at the when we play the Titans at Seabus at the Sporting Globe, and then another one we can play Manly at 4 Pines at the Brookvale Hotel. We'll get Richie on to chat about that next week.
You'll hear from the horse's mouth next week.
Absolutely. A little bit of housekeeping, mate, before we wrap up the show.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, make sure you check out Vital Man for your men's supplements and meal replacement shakes. Go to vitalman.com.au and make sure you use the code RU and Hammer, and you will get 20% off your order. Australian owned and operated company run by none other than Warrior 134 Michael Witt. So jump on there and check it out. A big thanks, as always, to all of our Patreon supporters. Always good to have you along. So thank you very much for your continued support. If you would like to jump on board and support us, go to Patreon/RuinedHammer. Jump on there, and for as little as $3 a month, you can support us with what we do and help us to bring you the show that we bring you each week. And yeah, if you want to jump on and become a gold Patreon like Malcolm and many others have, you're entitled to some of our fantastic Ruined Hammer merchandise. And speaking of merchandise, if that is your thing, then please check out our Redbubble store where you can get all, mate, this, I've been talking about it for a while. This is the new Up the Wars 2025 version, celebrating some of the fantastic moments we've had already in season 2025. It uses the same basic, the classic Up the Wars text that made the 2023 version an absolute knockout. Thank you to all you guys who bought that. So if you want the 2025 Up the Wires shirt, make sure you jump onto our Redbubble store and check out all the other designs that we have. We've got James Fisher-Harris, we've got Leka Halassim, we've got a Luke Metcalf shirt, we've got an Aaron Clark shirt, as you would have seen, that we gave away on game day in at Newcastle. So yeah, jump on there and check it out, please. It's another way that you can help support us with what we do here in Ruined Hammer. So yeah, jump on the Ruined Hammer /people/Ru and Hammer shop and check it out.
Sorry, mate,
just having, mate.
Just having some issues with the camera again, mate. I tried to show the all the Ruined Hammer merch in the background there, but for some reason it didn't want to do it. So that's all right.
Ah, well, that's right. It's the end of the show. Thank you to all you guys who have stayed on to watch and to follow us. And yeah, I guess there's not much else to say than Up the Wars. If you are heading out to the stadium on Friday night, make sure you cheer extra hard because the boys are going to need it. But another sellout crowd. But yeah, take care of yourselves. Up the Wars.
Thanks, guys. Up the Wars.
Cheers.